Hi everybody, welcome to Dandelion Cottage and Watercolor Wednesday. I'm Leslie Watkins, and today I thought I would do a little card to commemorate this auspicious occasion of the conjunction of the planets at the same time as the winter solstice. So I think we can all agree that this is a really great year to say goodbye to, and that this portends a wonderful coming new year. So I'm excited about it, and I thought it'd be fun to do a little winter solstice card. So I'm going to be doing this in watercolor, and I have my three colors right here. So I've got red, yellow, and blue, and I think I'm also going to want a little bit of white gouache. So I've got my monochromatic palette ready as well, and I'll probably just be using that white at the corner there. And I've got my watercolor brush, and I've got a toothbrush because I'm going to be doing a little bit of spattering. And I have my note card base ready to go. So this is very vanilla cardstock. This is the thick, very vanilla, and I will have all of these materials listed below after I do the video. And this is a piece of the Misty Moonlight cardstock, and I've cut this down to measure 3 3/4 by 5 1/4. And then this is a piece of the Fluid 100 watercolor paper, and it's a 5 by 7 piece cut in half to measure 3 1/2 by 5. And that's going to fit nicely on our mat there, like so. So to begin, I'm just going to take a light wash of water. I don't want to oversaturate my paper for this one. I'll put a little bit on the back to keep it from curling. And I do have the fireplace going today, so that should help to make the paper dry a little faster than normal. And I'm just going into my palette. So let me see if I can get this on here. I'm just going into some blue here. And I don't mind that some red is getting in there and whatever else I have on my palette here. So just a basic blue. And I'm just going to add a wash to the top of the page. And then I want to just add a little bit of red at the horizon. And I think I will bring this to the edges all the way around. At first I thought I would vignette it, but I've changed my mind. So there we go. Now this, I'll zoom you in a little bit more. The watercolor will dry lighter than it appears. So I'm going to go ahead and add more blue to make sure that that's going to be as dark as I want it to be. And I can double check with the tone of my cardstock, and I can see that that looks very blue compared to the cardstock, and that's fine. I'm not looking for matchy-matchy, I just want to get into the same color family. There we go. Okay, and then down below here, I'm going to put a little mountain. Now where I live, there are a lot of hills. They're known as the Litchfield Hills. And I'm going to put in my personal favorite one, which is Haystack Mountain, and that's a beautiful mountain that I see every day when I go to the post office. There we go. And by the way, I'm sorry if you were looking for me on Monday. Because I do live in the mountains, it's not unusual for me to lose power. And so I did temporarily lose internet service and telephone, but it's been repaired. So if you were looking for me, that's why I wasn't available. All right, so that's my initial wash. And I can go ahead and just take off this little excess on the top with a tissue. All right. And I have my paper towel handy in case I need it, so I'll just put this right over here. And I'm going to go back into my blue now. And I'm just going to put a tree line at the base of the mountain, just like so. It's still very wet. And I'm going to leave the foreground snowy. I'm going to put that aside to let that dry a little bit. And I think what I'm going to do is, because it is so wet, I'm going to start another one. So we'll have two going at the same time. And that will help us to keep working while things are drying. So I'm just grabbing another piece of paper. And maybe for this one what I'll do is a horizontal version. And I'll try not to use quite so much water this time. So I'm going to start again just as I did before. Get my sky in. Oop, I got two pieces of paper. Whoops. There we go. And I'm just going to add a little indication of the sunset below. Get my mountain. Pretty easy, right? I'm sure you can do this at home. And if you're interested in learning more about painting with watercolor, please go to my website at dandelioncottagedesign.com and subscribe to Notes. And I will be sending out an announcement shortly all about the beginning watercolor course that I have starting in January. And this is a great way to get started in a very simple, very inexpensive way that will give you a really good foundation in watercolor. And that's going to be a 5-week course. I'm sorry, 6 weeks. 6-week course. It's going to start in January, and it also includes a live Zoom question and answer. So after we get going, if you have some questions you want to ask me, and and share your work with the group. That'll be wonderful. And also there'll be a Facebook group, a private Facebook group, so that you can post your pictures and get critiques. So if you or somebody else that you know would like to get started with watercolor, I'd love to have you in the class. Subscribe to Notes, and I'll get that out to you very soon. Okay, so there's our second one. And this is really wet, so I'm not sure how well we're going to do today in our short amount of time, but I'm going to go ahead, and I've got my old toothbrush here, and I'm just going to get it wet. So I'm dunking it in the water, and now I'm filling it with this white paint. And this is designer's gouache, so this is an opaque watercolor. And you can see I'm just applying the pigment to the tips of the bristles. All right, now this is going to get a little bit messy, so I'm just going to put some paper towels down on my surface. I think we need a bigger piece, so let's do it this way. All right, make sure you can see that okay. Here we go. And excuse me, I'm just going to shield part of the picture so I just get mostly the sky. And then, and then I'm going to add my spatters. I'm going to clean that up a little bit because my paint was wet, because everything's a little too wet today. So I'm losing some control, but that's okay. We can make that work. So I'm just going to lift some of that excess paint with my brush. Now if you have a damp brush, you can do that. That one actually I like the way it looks because we're going to have a special feature there, so that actually works out well. So happy accidents. I'm going to continue adding some trees, but this time I'm taking the blue and I'm just going to add a little bit of yellow to get a nice dark green. Not too much because it's the nighttime, so I don't want it to look like a daytime scene. Just mixing up a nice puddle here. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Now I'll add some individual trees. And just give that some branches. There we go. Maybe a couple more over on this side. All right. I'm going to switch to this one. Do the same thing. Just adding some trees in the foreground. Where this view is of Haystack Mountain, you're standing up above what we call the town meadow, and it's this lovely little bowl-shaped area with a little wetland down below. And throughout the day, as the sun moves across the sky, the view changes time and time again, and it's just beautiful. And I feel so fortunate to live in a place where I can go to the post office and see this view. Also down below there we have the fire department, and there's a little boardwalk that you can now access that area. And we've had sightings of the bear and other animals rambling around down there. It's a lot of fun. I'm just going to soften this edge a little bit here. There we go. Okay, so there are our little compositions, but we're not done yet. I'm going to go back now to my white paint, and I'm going to mix a thick mixture. And let me just take a look at this brush point. Okay, that looks pretty pointy. I want to add that star. And this may take a couple of times to get it as bright as I want it to be. There we go. And this one might be too wet, but we'll give it a go. Yeah, it's a little too wet, so I'm getting a very soft edge, but that's okay. I can come back later. There we go. And I also may, after it's good and dry, I think I'll come back and give it a little more spatter, like I showed you how to do. Just smooth that out a little bit. There we go. This star needs a little more work, but I have to let that dry first before I can make it do what I want. But I will post the finished star after it's done. But I think you can get the idea of just how easily you can make a beautiful wintry snow scene. Now I'm going to do one more thing, and that is I'm going to take a very pale wash of blue, and I'm just going to add some shadows in the snow down below here. There we go. All right, let's put this together. I'm going to take my colored mat and just add a little bit of glue. just like that. Add that to my card. Get it nice and square. Oh, I forgot, this is a little bit narrower because of the watercolor paper, so let me just pull that over. You do have a little bit of wiggle room when using the liquid glue. There we go. So if you work fast, don't worry. And that's one of the reasons why I like it so much. This glue, not only is it archival, and it allows you that little bit of wiggle room to get things exactly where you like it, but it also has this really nice tip so that you can get into those tiny little areas. And on the bottom, if I can get that opened, it has this wider tip to help you spread glue on a much larger area. I rarely use that, but sometimes just to help spread the glue around, that can be handy. Alright, so there's my card base, and I'm looking for my bone folder. Here it is. Give that a nice crease. My envelope. And I'm not going to stick this down yet because I still want to do the additional spattering, but I can give you an idea of what that looks like. So there's the vertical format. Okay, so that's the vertical one. And if you prefer, the horizontal looks like this. There we go. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed that. I hope that gives you some ideas for making quick winter solstice cards. I'm not going to be here on Saturday because of Christmas, but I'll see you again next Monday. And in the meantime, I want to wish you all the most wonderful holiday season, most beautiful winter solstice time, and a very happy and healthy new year in 2021. And I think we're going to have a great new year. So let's think up and be ready for it. And I'll see you then.